Our next speaker is the co-chair of the workshop, Holly Tootell. Holly is a lecturer in the School of Information Technology and Computer Science at the University of Wollongong, where she teaches subjects in the areas of social implications of information technology innovation. Holly's research interests are the social and privacy implications of technology with a focus on issues relating to national security. She's also the Secretary of the newly formed Australian chapter of the IEEE Society on Social Implications of Technology. And it's great actually to see IEEE, which is hardly known for social issue focus, to actually get more engaged on these sorts of things. And it's a sign of the times that increasingly technologically based associations and professions have to see that the social dimension is as important as the technology one. Anyway, we thank Holly for her presentation, particularly because tomorrow she's going to be flying off to Italy. Please welcome Holly.
Now that you know that about me, please forgive me if I'm falling asleep. I haven't packed, I haven't got anything organised yet. So
I hope you don't expect us to feel sorry for you.
I'll expect the violins out. This afternoon, I've got to talk that, yes, I am a technology person, but I'm also very much rooted in the social impact of technology and privacy arena. What I'm talking about this afternoon is separate to all of that, and it's about the application of what we've done as critical social theory to this area of national security research. Now, I know in this room there's at least two other people who are much more learned in this area than I am, and I beg them not to ask me questions about it towards the end. What I'll be talking to you about today, because most of you I think are new to this area, and probably to the idea of critical social theory, is how it has been applied in my area of research, which is stemming from my own PhD work. To set the scene for what my research is, I'm just going to walk you through some of the key concepts that my research topic is about. I'm looking specifically at location-based technologies and their application to national security measures. The scope of my research includes RFID, GPS and GIS and mobile services. If you don't know what they are, aren't familiar, read the paper, you can catch up to speed, just know that there's a lot of acronyms in the area. Location-based services are used to identify the location of an information device, and most of the time the user that belongs to that information device, but not always. The area of national security, we've heard many different variations of it today. The particular area or definition that I use for this work is that it's not just terrorism. And I think when you're involved in various research networks and groups, terrorism so easily becomes the focus of it, but it's not just that. It can include events of national disasters, including the tsunami and earthquake. You can see that on the news currently in Indonesia. Border control, transportation security, critical infrastructure protection, intelligence gathering, and emergency preparedness. Now that's a very broad scope of events, and for the point of my thesis, it is a much narrower field than that. But to give you an idea of how broad this area can be, this is examples of everything that can be covered in it. If we look now to a table that tries to describe how some of these technologies can be used in different events. For border control, we've heard about passports. We've heard about the biometric ID in passports. One of the more interesting ones is using graphical information systems for unmanned aerial vehicles to transmit images back. So they're actually unmanned vehicles, or airplanes I guess, that circle airports using object identification. So they have a map of what should be on the ground. They don't know what those objects are, but they know a black box should be in this part, a circle should be over here. If any of those objects moves, it's able to feed back that information to the information gatherer. For natural disaster management, we've seen RFID being used for victim identification. We've also seen GIS being used to estimate damages and look at target areas needed for support. Sorry, I'm losing my words. For emergency assistance. In terms of terrorist attacks, we've used GPS for locating people at attack sites. For critical infrastructure protection, again, GPS to monitor potential threats to major landmarks or buildings, and this is an enormous area of research in itself, and there is a talk coming up quite soon through the RNSA on critical infrastructure protection. For health outbreaks, this doesn't necessarily always go along with terrorism or anything like that. SARS, the outbreak of SARS, RFID was used to monitor patients as well as mobile updates to notify people of when they were entering areas affected by those outbreaks. As we've all heard bird flu on the agenda, there are also many task forces and working groups assigned to working out ways technology and location-based technologies can actually advance our understanding of how to manage those outbreaks should they occur here. So that's setting the scene for where my research is basically set. Now on to the exciting bit that I've got the afternoon session, people nodding off to sleep. This is very exciting. It's critical theory, critical research, it's time to wake up. There are three main approaches to research, and for the students here, our school students, you'll be more than familiar with those approaches, and for anyone in research, you'll know about them too. But for those who may not be familiar with these, the critical approach is similar to interpretive, but still different, and it's certainly not a positivist approach. Where interpretive researchers seek to maintain the status quo, critical researchers seek to emancipate subjects. Critical research is rooted in the fact that you're trying to help people to change, that you are looking at the way things have been and the effects that have come of those decisions, and you're trying to find some way to allow those people to learn from that past and to move on into different areas or to make different decisions should they be in that same position again. Particularly in relation to critical IS research, the aim is to expose attempts to design and misuse or use of information systems to deceive, manipulate, exploit, dominate and disempower people. Now that's a fairly strong quote, and it's from one of our Australian researchers in critical social theory. And it is also a fairly negative view of the role that technology can play in any of these areas. And although I do tend towards the privacy side of any of these arguments, I'm beginning to understand more and more that the use of technology has a lot of purpose for good as well as for these more sinister purposes. This technology, as we've heard through all the learned speakers today already, has been implemented with the best of intentions. At times there is that scope for function creep or misuse that does get people offside. But from my original understandings of being a privacy advocate in this research, I'm beginning to realise that there is a much deeper shade of grey in the middle that we need to come to understanding of whether technology and the privacy concerns can exist together. Critical social theory has been described as having a primary objective of improving the human condition. Now that's a big ask for any field of research, and this theory by no means is going to solve all the world's problems. But it is in a position in terms of information systems research to examine the way we go about using technology and to think carefully about the impact that technology has on the people. The questioning of the neutrality of technology is essential to understand the social impact of these new schemes, and that's where my research falls. That although we may have the technologies there, and we've got those proponents of the technologies and the privacy people going against the technologies to some extent, questioning the neutrality means that we do actually do an analysis of that technology for the sake of its use. That we don't just think that a biometric passport is only used for a biometric passport. Are there any other uses? So the function creep comes up again. If those technologies are used and the function does become creep, how do we analyse those? How do we find ways of working out how people are going to react to that? And are there any ways to model that behaviour of people to determine whether they will accept that technology in the end? A picture, something to distract you with for a little while. For those of you interested in the actual research-based approach of what I'm doing, it falls under the guideline of qualitative research. Although there is quantitative components to what I'm doing, primarily critical social theory is a qualitative approach. There's two components of the research, the content analysis and the case studies, and at all times we're striving to understand what is known as the life world of the participants. And in this case, in my research, it's the general public and their reactions to these location-based solutions to national security measures. Without going into great depth in this area, I'm more than happy to take questions offline about it. Our life world is our understanding of how we're affected by things around us, and in my case it's being affected by technology. The life world can be shaped by things, and in my case the media. So how does media portray our understanding of these technologies? Mark Briggs has just spoken about some of the new legislation that's come about. How is that portrayed in the media? Are they pro that legislation? Is it bent towards anti-terrorist sentiment? What about our relationship with the US? There's a lot of different factors that need to be extracted from that popular media representation of how we're coping with that. As I leave here tomorrow, I'm heading to a conference in the US, and I'm actually going to be a walking case study. I have published a number of articles based on my research, and some of them haven't been too flattering of the US's approach to different measures. I'm actually wondering whether I get picked up on the radar. I wish we had another conference to follow up after this to see whether I am, because I have Googled myself. There are pages of me and my research up there. Just wondering how big a net they actually cast to see whether I do get any special attention. I'll be sure to report back.
Give me a check.
If I come back. Integrating national security and critical social theory. One of the pieces I've done in this literature review for this project is to look at a number of national security technology studies that have taken place and look at the particular applications of where a technology is examined. Now, these have been done in a silo-based approach, and that's a very fair way to do a technology study. You're looking at one technology being used for one purpose and you're analysing the success or failure of that technology. But at no stage do you get this overview blanket of how different technologies, when used together, serve a different purpose. A lot of these technology studies also don't look outside the realm of national security application. So again, we're in that silo approach where you can't take our learnings from this one report and expand it. What I'm trying to do is extract from those key concerns and key concepts and see it mapped to what is in popular media. The content analysis section, and this is where you're starting the emancipation process. What are we reading? What are we being fed as the public about all of this? How can we learn from what's out there, and how can we change our views on it? The reactions and trends that are being studied come from four main events that have taken place. September 11, which seems in this area of national security research to be the change point. Everything's different after September 11. Bali bombing, the London bombings, and the SARS outbreak. The preliminary results from these, and this has now encompassed a number of thousands of newspaper articles from around the world, that we have an expected immediate response to those situations. September 11 happened, there was something like 40,000 media articles released in the first 24 hours around the world. That's an enormous number of pages. So that event has happened. 3 months after that event is about the time frame you start to see governments and large organisations getting things rolling, saying that we have to react to this and we have to do it this particular way. That bulk of media releases coming out at about the 3-month mark. At the 12-month mark, you have expected anniversary memorials, the first anniversary of that event happening. But at various times throughout these graphs, and I haven't supplied the graphs here, but after I present in New York, there's going to be a lot more work available on this. But there are other flashpoints in there. And through anecdotal observation, which what led to this area of research, it's at times where the public has gone, okay, this event has happened, we've had a knee-jerk emotional reaction to it. After a period of time, the government has come in and said, or government and other organisations have said, we need to fix these issues, and this is how we're going to do it. In a lot of cases, we've seen the UK debate today, quite a number of other debates, where legislation that was previously unsupported by the public has been pushed through after a terror event. And then you see a period of time after that, and in the preliminary results, it's about 6 months after that, that the public is starting to say, hang on a tick, we're over the initial shock of the problem. All of this is being implemented, and yes, we supported it at the time, but now things have settled down and life is back to a new normal. We're not quite sure that we want all of those regulations in place. But with the speed that these technology changes and legislation are being pushed through, we're losing sight of that period of time when we can actually analyse those and work out whether that's really what we want. And I guess that's the thrust of what this component of the research will be doing. And through that, and through the lens of critical social theory, we'll be looking at creating this concept of the price of security. The price of security for this thesis is a concept that will be used to determine the trade-off that needs to be made when a new location-based technology is implemented as a solution to national security. It's looking at whether it is a trade-off, whether it's an exchange. So if I give you this information about myself, what do I get back? if I take on the biometric passport, am I guaranteed a higher level of security? But working out whether what we're giving is equivalent to what we're getting back, or whether it is something that is worthwhile, or whether we're just moving into this new era of giving it all away in the hope that something like September 11 doesn't happen again. Some of the technology examples to look at to try and understand this concept of crisis security is complete CCTV footage in cities. So determining, especially London has had quite a few cases go through where they have used the street CCTV footage to make changes. Biometric identification in passport, we've talked about that today. Curb-to-curb surveillance, so from the minute you step out the door to the minute I arrive in Italy tomorrow, who's going to know where I am? Can they actually track if I leave the airport for a quick 5-hour tour of Singapore on my way over? Will they know that I've done that? RFID implants, Katina and Michael have both spoken and written about that in some depth. And we've already talked today about different implications and perspectives we can take on that sort of research. But have a think about those types of examples on this work, because each of us do have our own individual reactions to those depending on the life world and the ideas that you have grown up with. So in conclusion, this research is proposing a way of understanding the impact location-based services will have if applied as solutions to national security issues. I hope I haven't confused you completely with critical social theory. I know there's another doctor up here that could speak to you at length about it. So thank you for your time today.